G'day guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be going over my top 5 advanced tips now for GS Pro. And if you stay tuned to the end of the video, I will have a bonus tip. So you're actually going to get 6, but I titled it 5 because it's a lot cleaner for the actual title of the video. Let's jump straight into this. The first advanced tip for using GS Pro, you can see I currently have it on my screen. This is how to go into a windowed view for GS Pro. When you initially launch GS Pro, you get the option to open it in a windowed view or full screen. I always choose full screen. And the reason for that is because if you click on the GS Pro screen, you hit F11, it will change it to a windowed view. So now you can move this around, you can minimize it, you can do whatever you want with it. When you want it to go back into a full screen, simply click on the actual window, hit F11, and it will go back to a full screen. That's the first advanced tip. Okay, tip number 2. I'm going to jump into the settings menu in the top right-hand corner. Now, this is going to come in useful when you're playing with other people. So when you're playing with people in your environment and you don't want to basically both hit a drive, then both hit your second shot and go in order for the hole, you can simply go into the settings menu. For player rotation, you can select play out hole. And now what that's going to do is one of your mates can sit down, have a drink, chill out while you play the hole. And then once you putt out, once you hole out your ball, then the other person's going to get a go to play that hole. So instead of playing traditional golf, where generally the furthest person away from the hole has the honor or is going to go first, now you're going to be able to complete the hole, then the other person can complete the hole. This is going to be a lot better if you're trying to play with a lot of people in your room. It gets really annoying when you have to start chopping and changing. Someone goes outside or goes to the bathroom, then you're waiting on them. It's just a lot easier, a lot cleaner to just play the hole out. While we're in the settings menu, another tip, we're going to go into the visual settings. If you have a simulator that you cannot hit the actual center of the screen, if you're restricted by width in your simulator, you're going to end up hitting offset from the center of your screen. If you do this, if you jump into the visual settings, you can actually type in the offset of where your ball hits the screen. And then when you do this, the actual ball flight is going to take off from the impact, the point of impact, instead of the center of your screen. And it's going to make everything look just a bit cleaner. Okay, that was tip number 3. Let's go back. For the other tips, I'm going to actually have to go into a course. So we'll go to practice, on course practice, and we will go out to Abacoa. Okay, tip number 4 is going to be all about computer optimization, trying to get the most out of your computer. If, like me, you don't have the best processor, you don't have the best graphics card, the graphics card's the important thing. If you are limited by your hardware, the courses now are getting so good, they're getting so demanding, and they're requiring more hardware to actually run these courses. If you find yourself in a situation where you're not getting good frame rates on a course, you can actually adjust the graphics settings in game. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. So this tip, I've got to give a shout out to Owen because he got me onto this, my mate. I know he's probably going to watch this video and he'll say, hey, I told you about that. So I'll give him a shout out. But if you're playing in game, I'm going to hit F and that's going to bring my frame counter up there. So you see I'm getting 47 to 50 frames, pretty solid. So I'm not going to have to decrease the graphics settings now to play this course. However, if I was getting, say, 20 frames and I was getting frame rate drops and having issues, what you can do is you can actually hit, I'll bring up the tab menu to show you this. It's called shadow less and shadow more. So the less than and greater than keys on your actual keyboard, these are going to allow you to change the graphic intensity in game without closing the game and then launching it in GS Pro Lite or Medium or Ultra settings. You can actually just cycle through them in game. Now, the one thing I wish that we could do is actually see which graphics mode we were in, because you kind of have to remember what mode you're in, because you cycle through them and you have no idea. You can get confused and then you'll have no idea what graphic settings you're on. But if I now hit tab, I'll get rid of the shortcut keys there. So what I'll do now, I'll hit F again so you can see the frames. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the less than key. And I just want you to watch the shadows, watch the trees, and see what happens to the graphics settings. So that's going to be running it in high. Then we're going to go to medium. Then we're going to go, I'll turn the frames counter back on. Then we're going to go to, I'm guessing, low. And then we're going to go to light, I believe. That's back to ultra. that would be light. So now we're in GS Pro Lite, and we've been able to do that without actually getting out of the game. Now the frame rates have stayed pretty consistent. That's because I'm not hitting the ball, so they're going to stay consistent. But if I was to hit a ball now, I'm going to get a lot more performance. I'm going to get a lot more frames out of my hardware. Another tip you can do is you can actually take off the 3D grass as well. So I'll bring up tab again just to show you, but this 3D grass, that also eats a lot of processing power or GPU power. So while I'm in GS Pro Lite at the moment, if I hit Z, you'll see that it gets rid of all the grass there. And that 3D grass, getting rid of that is really going to make it a lot easier on your computer to run this course. So if we hit frame counter now, you can see we're getting about 60 frames a second. My laptop will top out at 60 frames a second. So now I'm getting maximum performance as good as I can get on this course. Okay, to go back to Ultra, all I have to do is cycle through, and now I'm back in Ultra. I'll turn the 3D grass back on. Yes, it looks a lot nicer. You have shadows. But if we bring up the frame counter, you can see I'm back at that 40 to 50 frames a second. The frame rate counter will fluctuate a lot more when you actually hit the ball. At the moment, we're stationary on the tee, so it's not really doing anything. So that frame counter can be a bit deceptive when you're just sitting there doing nothing. But the performance will get a lot better if you go to GS Pro Lite. So what is funny as well is if you actually leave it in Lite and then you close the game out and you reopen it again, it will actually have the last setting that you had your actual game on when you were playing. All right, tip number 5. Now this one only got added, I'm gonna say, I think it was the last update they added this, but if you're aiming your shot and you get totally confused, you don't know where you're aiming anymore, and you just want to reset back to the target, if you hit A, it's going to snap back to where it defaults to, either to the dot in the fairway or to the pin if you're in the fairway. So what I'll do now is I'll just go down the fairway and I'll drop my ball. So now I'm default to the pin. If I was to say turn around and I was aiming over here, if I hit A, it's going to snap back to the pin. And finally, the bonus tip, tip number 6. This one is free fly. This is really cool because this is where those designers get those really cool pictures from whenever they upload pictures about their new courses. What I'll do is I'll go up by the green because, oh, we're on a tree. That's pretty cool. I'll go over to further back. All right, now if I hit F5, what you'll see in the top right-hand corner is it just went from the course name to free flight mode active. I'll just show that. So you've got the course name there. Hit F5, it's going to say free flight mode active. Now if I right click on my mouse, I'll hold down the right click, and then I'm going to hit the WASD keys on my keyboard and use my mouse as well to turn. I can actually move around and fly wherever I want in the GS Pro world. So now you're going to be able to get some really cool scenic pictures of the course, and it's just a fun thing to do. If you're in the trees and you want to see what's over the trees, for instance, you can enter free flight mode and have a look. But what else it's going to do is it's going to help me personally get some nice pictures for my thumbnails for these videos. I do have to give a shout out. I can't remember who told me this. I believe it was one of the course designers that actually said, hey, you can actually enter free flight mode, and he told me how to do it. I'll try and find that comment and try and give him a shout out. Whenever you want to exit free flight mode, just hit F5 and you're back to your ball. All right, guys, that is my 5 advanced tips and the bonus tip. Hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, let me know. Any comments or questions, let me know down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.